Everybody to episode 2 of Turnbuckle Talk Show, where we go live on Twitch and we post it here on YouTube of us every single morning going live at 11:15 on Twitch, talking about the world of professional wrestling. What happened last night? We saw TNA. We're going to jump into a lot of stuff from TNA last night, as well as some of the news that came out, or pretty much all of the news. We try to dive into every little bit and piece of what happened yesterday, and shove it into today's episode. So, today, this is what we got going on. Santana defeated Rich Swann last night. I'm super pumped to get into that. I mean, we have some highlights to show, and man, the highlights that I made for this right here, for this match here, was beautiful. This match, we saw Santana kind of come in with a different grit, I feel like, because this was the first time Santana and Swann have faced off against each other. And especially for it being for the championship, you know Santana wants to keep his championship. He had that grit to keep the title on him. So, the clips I'm about to show you is going to be like the craziest clips you've ever... I mean, this match right here was just full of passion, I feel. I think this match was two men wanting to show why they deserve, especially for Swann. He wanted to show why he deserves to be in that spot that Santana's in. So, I loved seeing that. I loved how he had that anger and that grit to tell BDE to stay backstage and say, hey, listen, I got it on my own. I don't want any excuses whenever I beat Santana. And I feel like that Swann is the only guy that could have went out there, lost to Santana, and still not lose momentum. He didn't lose momentum at all. It just showed why he deserves it more. So, I found it very beautiful, but let's take a look at the match clips. This is what we saw opening the match, an absolutely crazy concept. This Alabama Slam was scary. Just piles him straight down into the ground, which I thought was absolutely insane. We need to take a look at that again. He throws him into the corner, and then soon as he catches his legs, absolutely slings him down. And we know Macklin just went out with a concussion. I was scared here. But looks like he was fine. We still don't know for sure. But great concept here. Santana would slam him down, then would go back for another one. I mean, it was just a beautiful... This right here, the kick up by Santana, going up top, and then having to get pushed off by Swann, hitting the rollback, and then hitting a beautiful move off the top rope. Just picture perfect. Obviously, go to TNA Wrestling on YouTube to watch a full match. But, Falconera, absolutely beautiful. And then this is my favorite part of the night, personally. This is my favorite move. Little roll through into the cutter. Absolutely perfect. Swann had a cool Mexican Destroyer here. Just bang right on his head. So nice. And this is what ended the match here with the spin the block. Bang, just takes his head off. We need to see a clip of that again. Just hits him with the kick. Santana stays composed. Swings through with the meanest spin the block we've seen. And then gets the 3 pinfall. What a match. What a match. If those clips right there don't explain how crazy of a match it was, I don't know what will. I think that TNA should put Swann back into the division now. He needs to be thrown back in there. I get that we're trying to go with the storyline of him mentoring BDE. This man deserves to be up there. And I ain't saying that he's going to go and beat Santana one of these days. But whenever Macklin beats Santana, which I'm sure he will eventually, because now he's cleared. We talked about that in yesterday's episode. If you want to hear our thoughts on Steve Macklin being cleared, go over to yesterday's episode 1 of the Turnbuckle Talk Show, and we got into everything about that and said our thoughts, what could possibly happen in the next couple of weeks. But here, it's almost like I kind of want to see Rich Swann more than Steve Macklin. I think, obviously, Santana versus Macklin's obviously still a dream match for me on the current TNA roster, but Rich Swann versus Santana, they were not kidding last week whenever they said that we would be talking about this for decades. This match right here is going to be a match to remember. We're going to be talking about this on next week's episode. It's just going to be insane. I'm excited to see how social media takes it. I saw good news on it so far. A lot of people were taking it the right way, but obviously you got those certain amount of fans that just don't take things the right way. So you still got to watch out for them guys, but it is what it is. I guess you got to take it with a grain of salt, because them fellas, they don't really care what goes on. They just take it how it is. But I thought that Santana versus Swann, beautiful match. We will continue talking about TNA here. We had a cool match, by the way. It was the first time Nick Nemeth and Baird Bronson faced off against each other, and I think they made Barry Bronson look really strong during this match, and a cool way for him to lose as well. Nick Nemeth would end up winning, but after Nick would hit him with a DDT, we would see Barry Bronson just hop right back up and power up where Nick hit him with a super kick, and he kicked out at 2. Absolutely insane, powering up there, looking absolutely insane. And for this being their first ever matchup, I think there is serious respect for Barry Bronson coming out of Nick Nemeth. I thought that was a really fun match. We saw Casey Navarro, a returning Casey Navarro, which has made friends with Nick Nemeth over the past couple of weeks, and Ryan Nemeth not being too happy about that, but we would see him distract the system, and while he was distracting the system, we would see Ryan Nemeth pull Nick Nemeth back into the ring, while Nick would play possum, hit the super kick on Bronson, and get the pin to win the match. That was a beautiful way to start off the show. I really liked that. I thought that it was a good match overall, and I really think that we need to do more singles-wise with Barry Bronson. I feel like he can be the next Steve Maclin, because he's just one of them guys that are just show grit, that are just super technical in the ring, that just have that anger filled inside of them to just destroy everybody. So he could be a serious threat in these upcoming weeks. I would really be excited to see what he can do, but hey, I don't like this loss, but if you're building Nick up to something good, obviously he still is the Call Your Shot Gauntlet winner. He still can cash that in at any time. Frankie already used his, so, I mean, this is dating back all the way to Bound for Glory. Nick's had this Call Your Shot all the way back from Bound for Glory. I mean, it's been a while now. That's been since last year, so eventually we're going to have to see it cashed in. It's going to be on Santana. We just need to make it a little bit better. The feud needs to get a little bit better. I think that we need to get some more details before we see Nick and Santana. We know we've seen that little teaser, but I think that was a teaser that needs to be remembered for past months whenever we get to see Nick finally cash that Call Your Shot Gauntlet in. But still, great way to start off TNA. Great TNA overall, and we saw awesome. I wasn't going to talk about it, but I mean, I kind of have to. Lei Yingli had a beautiful promo. I want to give her flowers. She had such an emotional promo after Xia Brookside turned on her last week, and now we get to see Lei Yingli come out there, have such an emotional promo, start crying, and telling her, why would you turn on me? You know, and Xia Brookside would come out, hit a epic moment, which I thought needs to be respected more. They would start hugging it out, and then we would see Xia Brookside go from crying to straight face and take out Lei Yingli again. I mean, what a way. What a TNA. What an impact. I absolutely love that segment. And I know a lot of people were like, oh my goodness, this again. Dude, the emotional segments sometimes get really good. And this promo right here by Lei Yingli absolutely topped that off and was the cherry on the cake for everything TNA's been doing for that rivalry. So I'm super excited to see where that takes us. That's going to be a beautiful match. And Xia Brookside, as a heel, I actually really enjoy. So I think that it's going to be very cool to see what they do. And I think TNA Impact was definitely a success. We had more TNA call-ups revealed. Now, one, Jacy Jayne. We figured out what brand she is going to. She is going to the blue brand. Jacy Jayne is going to Friday Night SmackDown to try to take over there. Now, still no information if the Fatal Influence is going with her, but all we know, it is set in stone. Jacy Jayne is going to Friday Night SmackDown and may even show up there tonight. So that is a huge thing to keep an eye on over these past couple of weeks, because Jacy Jayne could make an instant impact, or she could wait it out like how Oba did. It really just takes time. We need to see these superstars, one of the best NXT superstars, if not the best NXT has to offer, going up to the main roster, and Jacy Jayne, former NXT champion, and you need to see her do great things. So if WWE waits to have a good spot for her, I would not be mad at all, because I think that if WWE just waits just a little bit, then they can finally get that opening to open up and finally get Jacy Jayne a cool spot to have. And SmackDown, and a lot of things on SmackDown right now aren't going the best. So I could definitely see Jacy Jayne just hopping straight in to the United States Championship opportunity/division, because Tiffany's going after that championship. After Tiffany beats Julia, which it's going to happen. Julia's just not a good champion. It is what it is. And you would think with Julia getting a mouthpiece with Kiana James, it would get better. No, it hasn't, unfortunately. But I do think that they will get better as the time goes on. But that's also the same thing. That's the same thing I said after the first 2 months that we saw Julia and Kiana. So I don't really know at this point. But I think it's clear as day. Former Undisputed Champion Tiffany Stratton has to beat Julia at some point. The next time they face each other, we know that match was supposed to be at WrestleMania, so I think that's pretty clear that Tiffany was going to win. So I think that's still set in stone, even though they took the match off of WrestleMania, which does have me thinking, did they change their plans on who they think is going to win? I don't know, but I think it would be a really cool touch to have Tiffany win, then have Jayne confront her after the match, and finally then we'll finally be able to see Jacy have that spotlight on SmackDown, which I think would be impactful. We know Jacy is the best mic worker that NXT had to offer, and I don't think that's even debatable. Jacy is the best mic worker in NXT. Coming up to the main roster now, she's going to be top 3. So WWE really, really, really needs to put her in a good spot, because this is a talent that marinated in NXT for a good while. I believe for a good bit of years. So now, I believe about 6 years. I believe since 2021, around there. So, you have a superstar like Jacy, generational talent. You need to do her right. You need to have her go on SmackDown and just be awesome. And that's what's going to happen, I feel like. I think that if WWE keeps their cool with her, they start doing it the most secure way possible, where they don't rush her into it, but they just slowly ease it in, I think that'd be perfect. But obviously, we're going to have to see what WWE does with that. And also, one thing that I thought was really interesting. So, we'll talk about this with WrestleMania 42 as well, or WrestleMania 43, and that was interesting for sure. But then, we get to see this. NXT thinks that Ricky Saints is ready to go up to the main roster. But the CW Network has said that they do not feel comfortable in that decision. Now, is that because they think that Ricky Saints is one of the main guys on there that is really starting to bring numbers? I don't know. That could be the case. I mean, if you're an AEW fan, you tune in NXT to see how former AEW superstar is doing on NXT. Maybe that's the case. But why would the CW stop somebody from going to the main roster, which is the ultimate goal for a superstar? Because you're seeing talents like Blake Monroe. She just got rode off TV by Tatum Paxley in that casket match. Then you have a talent like Ricky Saints. He just lost in that Fatal 4-Way at Stand and Deliver. That was a huge moment for him, where it was like, cut off the decisions, I'm out of here. I feel like that was the way to go. But then the CW wants to mention to NXT that they don't feel comfortable bringing Ricky Saints to that main roster. And you look at NXT, you're losing Sol Ruka, Ethan Page, Ricky Saints potentially, Jacy Jayne, Joe Hendry. That's your guys. So I think that WWE will be looking for people from Evolve, people like Cappuccino Jones, using people like E.K. Prosper. I think it's a real bummer that Elio LaFleur got injured, because if he wasn't injured right now, I think we'd be able to see the CW not be in such distress to keep their main guys there, because I think there'd be way more flexibility in NXT if there wasn't injuries. I think that the women's division will be fine. You have superstars like Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, Tatum Paxley, and those women are going to be fine. Lola Vice. You can go on and on about the women's division. It's always been the best. But for the men's division, Tony D'Angelo is your current NXT champion. It's still a great run. It's still not boring. So you have a great champion in Tony D'Angelo. You have a rivalry brewing, a heel turn or a face turn coming by Deion Lennox to break away from Dark State. You have Tatum Paxley on an absolute rampage. You have Miles Bourne, which I think that's getting pretty boring. He defeated Johnny Gargano at Stand and Deliver. Deion Lennox attacks him. Clear as day, Deion wants a title. And the fact that he didn't tell Saquon Sugars or the rest of Dark State obviously is telling us that he's probably going to break away from them soon. So, I think, overall, NXT will be in a good spot. But only if WWE waits until their injuries are back. If they wait for their injured superstars to be back, where they can get back in the action, I think that's whenever you bring Ricky Saints to the main roster. You already have Ethan Page and Joe Hendry covering up Monday Night Raw. Now you hear the superstar Jacy Jayne going to go to SmackDown. Probably Sol Ruka going to SmackDown too. But it does look like that Raw Women's division kind of needs a little bit of help. But so does SmackDown. SmackDown has more star power, but they don't know how to use that star power. So that's why I'm kind of afraid of a generational talent like Jacy Jayne going to SmackDown. Because I don't feel that the writers of SmackDown right now knows what they're doing with the current state of the women's SmackDown division. I don't think they do. So, if a superstar like Jacy comes in, which we all have high hopes for, comes in and they do her wrong, there's going to be an uproar on social media. And we've already seen that sort of uproar about Royce Keys. There was that long wait for his SmackDown debut. Whenever it happened, he wins the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And we know that does nothing for somebody's career. Jey Uso won that. I mean, it really does not change the trajectory of your career. But a lot of people were bashing Royce Keys' debut. And I think that was not something that happened, because obviously WWE took it the short way. We saw Royce come in, beat Berto, and I mean, sure, you could say it was copy and paste from Main Event. It was. They did it as a trial reel in Main Event, and then they said, hey, you can bring it up to SmackDown. You can have your debut there. I don't like how they did that. I never did. But I didn't like how people were bashing it either. I just don't think it was worth that. But still, I don't know how WWE is going to be able to do this. I'm actually pretty anxious to see what they do. I just hope they don't fumble Jacy Jayne, because that's one of my favorites. And same thing with Sol Ruca. If they fumble them too, yeah, I don't even know what to say. Those are two superstars I just feel like cannot fail. Same with Oba, Trick, and Javon. They can't fail. And Jacy and Sol can't either. So I feel like WWE's kind of too good now. I mean, they've made so many good superstars that they have to use that it's leaving some of your favorites off the card, which I think is not the best decision. But I think that we did need to keep Ricky Saints down in NXT as long as possible. I agree with the CW network here. I think that it'd be best. You have him getting a rivalry with Tony D'Angelo. We all know how it's going to end. Tony retains. Send Ricky to the main roster. That would be the only way that I would do it, but I don't know how they will respond to that. I don't know what they'll do, but I think there should be a good storyline for Ricky on NXT if they keep him there. Next up, we need to talk about Paige filming for WWE Unreal during her return. I think this is going to be beautiful. We've already seen, 95% of the backstage stuff that happened during Paige's return, just because WWE's posted stuff about it. We've seen photos with Punk taking photos with the Bella Twins and Charlotte and them, but I'm excited to see her on WWE Unreal. I believe it's Season 3 now. Because Season 2 came out, so yeah, it's Season 3 next. So she'll be on WWE Unreal Season 3, which, it's going to be so fun. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be really, really excited to see how it all played out. Obviously, she found out not too long before WrestleMania, so this was in a 2 weeks' notice, because Nikki Bella got injured 2 weeks before WrestleMania, so they called her up and said, hey, Nikki's injured. She probably won't be able to go as much as he says. It's because we know Nikki was saying that she'll still be able to go. We all knew Nikki was not able to go. And I was shocked whenever at the Hall of Fame she said that as of now she's still good to go. And then at Mania she comes out and says, as of this morning, no, you knew as soon as it happened. So I believe she fractured it, she high sprained it, and a few things on her ankle. So it's going to be a while. So I'm so glad they have the star power like Paige. Being able to carry that up, I think it's going to be really, really cool. Going to be nice to see an old friend, which Nikki Bella called her, to carry that weight of the tag division while Nikki's gone, because I think Paige is better than Nikki anyway. We all know it. I think that in-ring match, as much as Ric Flair will say he don't like that match, I love that match. I thought that match was super, super fun, but let me know down below your thoughts on that. I think it's going to be really cool to see Paige on WWE Unreal, because I want to see the backstage process of all of it, so that's going to be really cool. And the WrestleMania 43 update I was talking to you guys about whenever we were talking about NXT. This was insane. We will see WrestleMania potentially return to a one-night WrestleMania. That's crazy. Obviously, this is going to be a one-time thing. We don't know. It's not set in stone that it's going to be a one night. But according to Saudi Arabia, that'd be the best thing for WWE to do while in Saudi. But ESPN would tell WWE that they want to keep it to 2 nights because that's what they prefer. They prefer 2 nights. And this will be the first time that a WWE's marquee event has ever been held outside of the United States or Canada. So this, right here, is going to be crazy. Which, obviously, if you're WWE, you got to listen to your broadcast partner in ESPN. ESPN is the one that's going to be streaming this PLE. So, in that case, I would assume WWE is going to listen to ESPN and say, hey, listen, we can get the best of both worlds. We'll go to Saudi and do WrestleMania. Then we'll also listen to our broadcast partner, not burn any bridges there, and make it 2 nights. But now my interesting factor is, why did WWE not want to keep it to 2 nights? what is the reason that WWE came to the conclusion that they need to do it for one night? I wonder what that reason is. Is it something to do with Saudi? Is there something there that they don't want their superstars involved in? I don't know. I think that needs to be looked into, though. I do hope that a source like Fightful or Wrestling Observer, Body Slam, whatever, comes out and says the reason for that. Because I don't think that we can just have this report come out with no explanation. WWE saying that it could return to one night event for WrestleMania 43. Then ESPN coming in and saying, hey, we would prefer 2 nights. So obviously, I'm sure WWE checked in with ESPN. What do you guys prefer? 2 nights. They prefer 2 nights. So, if you're WWE, you listen to ESPN, in my opinion. You go 2 nights. And 2-night WrestleMania was not bad this year. So, if they have good build-ups, I would not be mad at two nights again. I think we've just gotten used to 2 nights, though. And I think that if it was 1 night again, we'd be seeing so many of great stars being left off the card. Like, I feel like that if it was 1 night, we wouldn't have seen a match like Trick versus Sammy. We wouldn't have seen a match like that IC title match, which basically stole the show in ring. So, I think overall, that's a super interesting thing to see, super interesting report. But, hey, I'm not going to get into it until we hear further information. I'm not going to voice my full opinion yet until we hear more information about it. Tonight's Friday Night SmackDown. You know what that means. We got to go through the card. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. No. The only thing WWE has to say as of 11:37 a.m. EST is that all we're going to get is that WrestleMania 42 Fallout, including Rhea Ripley, Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, what Cody has to say about Randy's attack after Mania, and everybody who won at WrestleMania, pretty much, Trick Williams, stuff like that, and that's all we've seen. But I'm actually really, really excited to see what WWE does there. I think it's going to be really cool, and I will go ahead and add what we got going on, because I thought it was actually pretty interesting. Personally, this is what we're going to be seeing. A WrestleMania 42 Fallout tonight. And by the way, I had this preset to just come up on the screen, but it didn't come up, so I got to take matters into my own hands. But this is what we're going to be seeing at WrestleMania 42 Fallout tonight, 8 p.m. EST, 7 Central. So I'm super excited to see what we got going on here. I don't really know what the plan is, though. I don't know what WWE is going for, but I really hope that we get some explanations on why Randy attacked Cody. Was it just out of pure anger, or it was because of the disorder that Corey Graves was talking about? That whenever in 2009 he had the explosive disorder, which makes you turn violent at any moment. And I wonder if they'll make that come back into play. I don't know, actually. Are we going to see tonight Randy Orton come back into his old senses, potentially, and turn back face? I think there would be a uproar on that for sure. I wouldn't want to see that personally, but I know a lot of people would be definitely interested if WWE did that. But WrestleMania 42 Fallout is tonight, and I'm kind of nervous to see how it goes. And Cena. John Cena would leave a little bit of a cryptic message on social media. And it's not really cryptic, but it's interesting. He would say, "Man, if it were only 2023 again, I might have different business at WWE Backlash. Alas, the years pass. I'm still going to try to do something epic in Tampa for 5/9, which is May 9th. I promise Club WWE something special. Stay tuned." Period. So, he posted that yesterday at 10:05 a.m. That's obviously Backlash. He's going to try to do something special for Backlash. What that could be, whether that's hosting Backlash, I don't think we really never see people host normal PLE shows besides Mania. But I wonder what the surprise could be. Maybe him announcing the attendance, which would be pretty lame. But something to keep an eye on. I really have no clue what it could possibly be. If anybody in the Twitch chat has any clue, let me know, because even my people in the comments section on YouTube, let me know down below. What could John Cena be talking about for Backlash? I don't know. I think it's going to be really fun, though. May 9th is going to be a day to remember, apparently, so stay tuned. I am super excited to see. Obviously, Club WWE is kind of a new thing that's going on, and Cena wanting to do something special for them, something epic, he describes. So, what is that epic thing that Cena's going to be doing? I don't know, but on the same topic of PLEs, we would see Fanatics say that they were blown away by the Danhausen shirt sales. They said that there were multiple restocks of Danhausen merch and products sold. There were multiple restocks on the shelves for Danhausen. This man's going to be kept around WWE for a long time. He's going to be the R-Truth of WWE whenever he's like 50. They're going to keep him under contract as long as possible. They're going to keep Danhausen until he retires. I just have a feeling. Unless they burn a crazy bridge, which I don't think they will. But this right here. I mean, what else can you say? We saw a Danhausen blimp going around at WrestleMania 42. I'm not surprised that the shelves had to be restocked multiple times for Danhausen products. But great to see there. It's good to see a guy like Danhausen coming in and getting the love like this. I mean, it is insane. You don't even see Roman Reigns. There was sales. Danhausen had more shirt sales than CM Punk, Roman Reigns, like everybody. So, and I think it was by a landslide too, the report that I saw. So, I mean, what can you say? I mean, that's just a beautiful sight to see. And the last thing we're going to touch on is TKO's executives still have control over creative. And that's obvious. But their executives, every time that they have made a decision and a change of plans to WWE television, to creative, the fans have not liked the decision. So, whenever we're watching the show, we don't even know that this was a TKO decision. But sometimes we can feel it. And I think we felt it whenever it was Pat McAfee. I think that may have been something there. But we obviously know Triple H has a good relationship with Pat McAfee, so I doubt it. But I'm just going to read out their full report here. TKO's executives still have control over creative, and when they have voiced their opinions, it has been at the wrong times and bad decisions that fans didn't like. And they would also go on to say that they barely ever change plans on WWE, but when they do it, the fan response is not very good. So, that tells me WWE's creative decisions are better than TKO by a landslide, because every time that TKO has made a decision in WWE programming, we have not liked it as fans. So, hey, I think that speaks for itself. I'm excited to see if WWE eventually shovels out of that hole, but I mean, it is what it is. I think that eventually they're going to have to stop them from voicing their opinions, because if it's not good decisions anyway, don't let them. But, I mean, you have to. So, that was today's episode of Turnbuckle Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously, we had a fun time looking at that Santana versus Swann match. I know we all really enjoyed that. That was absolutely beautiful of a match. And the clips of that match, chef's kiss. I watched that match back last night after it happened, and bruh, I mean, it was just a sight to see. Beautiful match. Still kind of mad that Macklin didn't get involved here, leading to the fact that he is cleared. But either way, we're all good. It's going to be fun to see what TNA does over the next couple of weeks. Let me know down below how you guys enjoyed all of these news and TNA last night, and what your thoughts are about Friday Night SmackDown tonight. Do you think that WWE should have added more to the card? Let me know down below, and I will see y'all boys in the next one. Deuces.